The BTK killer, or Denis Rader, was one of the most notorious killers of his time, and to truly understand why he killed and slaughtered so many people without seemingly no regret, and to blame it all on spirits and demons, we need to go take a look at his childhood and see what exactly he did and how he got so messed up. Denis was born in Kansas on March 9th, 1945. His parents, William and Dorothea Rader, decided to have him baptized at the local church. This is pretty ironic considering that he was pretty mentally unstable as a kid, ever since he was born. As a child, he seemed very normal with no abnormal traits. He would do a lot of church activities, he was a Boy Scout, and he actually had a lot of friends and had a really good reputation of being a nice person. Little did everyone know he actually at an early age dreamed of torturing people, and he actually strangled cats and dogs for pleasure and fun. No one knew about this. He kept this a very well hidden secret, and it was a really well hidden secret during adolescence. Like even his adult life, he kept it a secret. Most of the people that knew Denis during his childhood and high school described him to be very quiet, and he kept to himself, and he was nice to people. He actually knew how to act around people. He knew how to behave a certain way so that he wouldn't look weird, because he did have really disturbing fantasies on his mind like 24/7. Also, another really weird thing about him is that a lot of people would describe him to be very weird in the sense that he didn't like certain music and that he didn't have a sense of humor. But he did seem normal in other ways, like he would seem socially normal, but he just seemed weird in the fact that he didn't find much things funny and he wasn't into the music of his times. Denis then went on to graduate from high school in 1963, and that's when he started going from adolescence to going to college. And when he went to college, he actually started to have pretty bad grades, mediocre at best, and this is when he started to actually try pursuing most of his fantasies of killing people. He would stalk people. He actually didn't kill anyone at this point yet. He was just stalking them and really wanting to kill them at this point. He was successful in the point of breaking into homes, buildings, swiping small items of interest. But at this point in his life, he actually has not killed anyone yet. He has only had the thought of doing it. After he had finished college, he had joined the US Air Force at the age of 21. Supposedly he had done this because he wanted to get away from going to the Vietnam War, from being drafted into it. But he spent about 4 years in the Air Force, and while in the Air Force he traveled to Greece, Korea, and Turkey. He was eventually promoted to sergeant after getting plenty of medals and getting a lot of other nominations during the war. After the war, he had moved back to his hometown, Wichita, Kansas, where he eventually met his future wife, Paula. She was a bookkeeper at the time. They started dating and eventually they got married. And when they got married, they moved into a new house in Park City. After they had settled down and finally got a place to live at, Denis had gotten a new job as someone that worked with meat in the grocery store. This is, however, where his life starts to make a turn for the worst. Denis's first murders were in 1974, starting off with his first victims of the Otero family. They were all strangled in their house. After Denis has committed this crime, he gave himself a label, the BTK killer. BTK stands for bind, torture, and kill. Even more disturbing, in the crime scene there was semen found at the scene. This just showed how sick he was and how he found pleasure in these disgusting acts. He then went on to murder 2 more people. The first person he murdered was his neighbor on April 27th, 1985. And after that, he killed Nancy Fox on December 8th, 1997, to only then call the police and tell them that he killed them. Denis wasn't caught right away, and after a while, Denis decided to send a letter to the news station saying that he killed these people, and this eventually made him get caught.